What is going on today, YouTube? So we're back with another video, and just like our previous video is going to be along the same lines, just a new week. So today's Wednesday. We're going to be looking at the markets, stock market and crypto market, and we're going to use two charts to do so. We're going to be looking at SPY, which is the ETF of the S&P 500, and we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, which is the face of the crypto market. Okay, so we're going to look at those charts. We're going to go over some stuff. We're going to look at price action, and we're going to be forming thesis from the upside to the downside. Let's get right into that. All right, so first thing first, we're going to dive right into SPY. And as you see, the market is still open. Right now, I am on the Pacific time, and it is 11:12. So we see markets are open. So let's dive into what kind of happened today alone, because it was a big day because of, job rates that came out, and now we've seen that we beat that, but for some reason we're having a sell-off. So let's get into that and then look at the big thesis here. So first thing first, we see here we had this big hour candle to open up the market, and we ran all the way up here to tap our previous week resistance box. As you see, that is this yellow box, and once that tapped, sellers stepped in. Everyone took profit right there at 697. Notice how that all correlates, okay? It's not by accident, it's by design. That's the psychological level where people decided to take profit. So a lot of people, myself included, made money to the downside of that trade in that play, okay? And that's the thing about trading. You can make money to the upside and you can make money to the downside. It's more about just capturing volatility, understanding reverses, and being disciplined enough to not overstay your welcome and to identify where the market is heading. Sounds easy, but trust me, it's a lot more complicated than it sounds, because discipline, greed, all that stuff plays a huge factor, okay? After this sell-off, we came up to 697 here, topped up here, and now we're dropping down. Boom. Top this other box. This is the previous week support box, and we had a handoff here. Remember, we talked about handoffs a few times. Look how these candles right here just line up perfectly right there. And then the bulls took momentum, and then we started kind of running up, got back into our previous month resistance, which is this red box, and we're kind of just trading in between there right now, consolidating. So I'm not in any trades. I actually got a good trade in the first hour of the day. I'm done for the day, but now we're going to be forming a thesis out for this entire week. So let's get right into our macro time frames. First thing first, we're going to switch over to our higher time frames right here to 4 hours. And we're going to go back to Friday and then start forming out a thesis. So you see, we had gapped up, and then we kind of started running up. This is my 1 hour gap zone right here. So I'm assuming one day price could come down. But we started running up, and all Friday we kind of were forming higher highs on the 4 hour time frame. And then Monday we opened again with the higher high, and then you see we started kind of coming down. So we got up to these 696, 697 range, and sellers are living there. This is where people are taking profit, because if you took a trade over the weekend from 680 up to 696, of course you're going to take profit, right? It only makes sense. That's huge money in the middle of that. So now we've come down, you see, to start off the day, even though we had some positive news with jobs, meaning a lot of people are being more employed than previous. So that was some bullish news. That's what pushed the markets up top to 697. A lot of people may have gotten in late and thought we were going to make new all-time highs, but the people that were already in position decided to use this good news to take to their selling point, which was previous week resistance, bow. And then we came right down to previous week support, and now we kind of got back up to here to 693. And we may see for this last hour and a half of trading day, we might just trade sideways between the 690 range, okay? It's going to be interesting to see that play out. Then we go over to our daily chart. So on our daily charts, you see, remember, look, Friday was a green day, higher high. Monday was a green day, higher high. Yesterday, we formed a higher high, but we closed red. So that was a weak higher high. And then today, we also formed a higher high, but we're still red. And we also formed that lower low after that sell-off. Came down to this previous week support, along with these EMAs here on the daily chart, and we pushed back up, okay? So with all of this being said, this is just our quick diagnostics of the charts. Now, let's start making thesis. All right, so what we're going to be watching for SPY in specific, and SPY represents the S&P 500. So whatever your stock is that you may day trade or you may like, it could very well fall into the SPY category. You could also look at your chart that you like to trade the same way we're looking at SPY and we're diagnosticing it, okay? All right, so now for our thesis, what we're going to be looking at, let's talk about going for the upside first, okay? In order for us to really play the upside as far as new all-time highs, breaking that 700, we're going to first need us to break out of this previous week resistance with a good close, not just these wicks. You see, look, we're only wicking out We're only wicking out above here. We're only wicking. These wicks, we don't want to see wicks. We need to see a close. A close out of here, a retest back, and another close, and we could potentially take it to 700. Until then, we could just assume sellers live here, and it could be a reverses every time until it breaks through. Okay. For upside, for a new all-time high, we're gonna see it break 697 and this 698 range with a good retest, and we could potentially take some new all-time highs and see where water is up here. Okay. Now for the downside, let's say we keep on coming to retest like we've been doing. Every time we get up to this level, you see we fall down, we fall down, we get back up, we fall down, we come and retest, we fall down. What do we do then if we don't be able to break? Then we're going to just see price come back down to this 690 range, 689, where this little gap zone between previous week resistance and previous week support is. And if we lose that along with EMAs on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, the 1-hour chart, we could potentially fall back down into not only previous week support, but January support. Previous week support starts right under 689, and then January support starts at 685. So we could potentially see price go back to that side. This does not change the long-term vision if we were investing into the markets, okay? This is just more short-term volatility and us seeing what hurdles needs to be jumped in order for it to go to new all-time highs, okay? If it can't jump these hurdles, then we know where it's going to come down to the downside. When you know where it's coming to the downside, it kind of forms that conviction. It doesn't allow you to be scared, allow us to be nervous, allow us to think it's the end of the world. No, it's more of, okay, this is where we're coming down to. Let me get in position. Let me buy more here, or let me take some shorts or some puts, as also known as, down here to these level, okay? We see the 100 EMA here on the daily chart. Our friend is creeping up to this previous week support. Look where it's at now, 675.30. It was just down here. I still believe that we could potentially see a retest of this EMA because we haven't yet touched it since November 2025. And when we did, we ran up. That could be the push to all-time highs we need. Maybe buyers are just waiting on the honest retest to see if we'll break structure or not. We're going to keep our eyes on this EMA right here, because if price starts to fall down and we get back into this January support, which is this red box here, so from 685 to 676, then I'll be looking to see what does price do if it clips that EMA right there. So that's going to all be interesting. But again, we don't want to get caught in the short-term noise and think that, you know, oh, it's just trading sideways. Oh, what do I do meanwhile? If you're day trading, these moves that are being made are massive moves every day. It's just inside the same range, okay? So, for instance, that move on Friday was massive. We started down here at 681. We wicked all the way up to 692. That is so much money in between there. Even just today alone, we started down. We traded between 689 up into 696. That's almost $10 in between. Even if you caught $3 of that move, you could be making thousands of dollars if you know how many shares you have, how many contracts you have, yada yada. Okay, so it's not about, oh, well, price is moving slow. Well, price is doing this. Well, SPY only moved $3 today. If you were able to catch that $3, you're set. You're good. That's all you need. If not, then it is what it is. You just live to fight another day. If not, you're long term. What should I do for swings? Perfect. We know where price wants to come down to. You might want to be able to dip down here and buy some swings right back up to the top of this box. Like, remember we were talking about this last week, this last Wednesday. We were just talking about if price comes down here, okay, this could set up perfect for swings because this is where we were at. And it was like we could get swings down here up. So if someone took that and bought one contract out for a week and took it up, you didn't even have to wait the full week. Okay, because it came down and it came back up. It does it all the time. Like, we're literally just trading in between a range. Okay, like, we're trying to make all-time highs, but in order to make all-time highs, we need conviction and we need honesty from buyers. Okay, if you don't day trade and you just more of like okay, I just want to own some shares maybe of SPY because this is a great ETF to own, then you just wait down. You just buy lower. Don't buy right here at 696 that we can't break. If we can't break this level, there's no reason for you to be buying up here. Because now you're just banking that we're going to make all-time highs, which we will eventually, but that's just going to be harder for you because then what are you going to do when it comes down? Are you going to still hold your positions or are you going to sell and then lock in losses? It's best to come down here, wait till we get down here again. If we do end up coming down here, when we do end up coming down here, buy here And at bare minimum, you could take it back up here until we break through, okay? And now you feel good. Even if it comes back down to this level, you still bought here, so you're still in the green. That's the name of the game. All right, so now we're going to jump into the crypto market and we're going to look at Bitcoin's chart. And the reason why we look at Bitcoin chart when we're looking at the crypto market is because Bitcoin is the front runner of crypto. Remember, crypto is a lot of different tokens that are building the foundation to where we are heading with blockchains, okay? But we don't want to look at all those tokens individually hunting all these charts for y'all's sake. We're going to just look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the standard. Bitcoin is the face. So if Bitcoin is down, so is everything else because that's how the money transfers. If Bitcoin's running up, then people are moving money into these altcoins as well, okay? And then sometimes we have altcoin season when Bitcoin is kind of choppy, but altcoins are running up and vice versa. But we always look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is this standard, okay? So we're looking at Bitcoin, and last week when we were making this video, we were right here and we were talking about we're on our way down to getting inside the structure. And look, the next day, Thursday, huge boom candle, boom, down to 60K. All right. And then we even ended up touching 59,000. You could only imagine the headlines then. But then we ended up running back up from 59,000 and we ended up touching 70K. And look, we tried to break structure. The EMA was right there, but we could not. So we're back here trading. We could eventually come down to this zone right here. That's why we have that marked out. We're prepared for everything. If we do come down to that zone, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's a buying opportunity, right? Or we could try to break this structure, meaning break these EMAs and our trend line and get back into the 74, 76K. Boom. This is how we're going to look at this, okay? This is how we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at our EMAs right here like hurdles, okay? This is hurdles. So in order for us to break over to these prices, Bitcoin is just going to go to 100K overnight because you say so. Okay, it comes down to news. It comes down to buyers and sellers. That's all market structure is. So in order for us to even break out of this range and get to 70K, look where 70,000 is, right under this structure. So this is almost like a double hurdle because we got to not only get past this EMA, but we also need to get out of the structure again. Last time we were able to finally break structure, we were in structure for 2 months before we broke out to start the new year because of bullish news, and we were able to break over both EMAs. It's like a triple hurdle. You got the structure and you got both EMAs, but the New Year's and new affirmations people make and everyone excited was able to cause us to break out. And then once we had to retest that 100 EMA, we came right back down. Same thing here. Now let's look at each hurdle. Let's talk about each hurdle that it needs to hop in order for us to get back to where we want to get back to. So the first hurdle, it needs to be able to break this EMA, and not only that, it's a double hurdle. It needs to get out of structure at the same time. Not impossible, because up here on the beginning of the year, we seen it happen, okay? Until it does that, we could continue to keep trading in this range, keep getting rejected. We could chop here, or we could come further down until we get here, and maybe the buyers that are waiting right here could push us through that structure and the EMA, or it could happen beforehand. We're going to play either way. Next thing, if it breaks out of there, the next hurdle it needs to jump right here. You see this buy zone between 74K, 76K. The EMA is right there, right in that buy zone. So not only does it need to get out of this buy zone, but it's going to have to break over that hurdle as well. Once it breaks over this hurdle, which is the 21 EMA, it breaks over that hurdle. Now we're in the 80Ks. We'll finally be back to 80,000. Bitcoin can reclaim 80K. In order for that to happen, people can't be selling here. Buyers can't get fatigued right here. If that all aligns, then we could potentially run it back up to our 100 EMA, which could be 89K, 90K right here as of today. We could break this. We could potentially try to run up to that 100K back, getting up there. In order for this to all happen, of course, we have to stay disciplined and we have to just watch the charts. If we keep falling down, guess what? This EMA gets lower, the 100 EMA gets lower, this 21 EMA meets this structure, this 8 EMA is trading in here. So it turns into that. It doesn't matter which way it goes. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because we have the long-term thesis on Bitcoin. We know what Bitcoin is. We know where Bitcoin's going. We understand. And if you don't, I suggest you subscribe so that you can also gain the understanding, because the media is going to try to trick you every time. Bitcoin always has a new trick up its sleeve as to why it's not valuable, to why it's not going to be the future. It's always going to arise, okay? And I'm not here to get political with people. I'm not. I look at facts. TraderBoyz here. For everyone that joins us, we look at facts. We look at structure. We look at opportunity. We look at conviction. We look at what can it become. That's what we look at. We don't look at all the short-term news that's designed to make you sell and make you panic to drive price down here so that the rich could buy it at a better price. And myself too. I'm going to buy it at a better price too, because that's how we need to think in the markets. We need to think like the smart money. When I say the rich, I'm not talking about people with hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. I'm talking about the money that moves these markets, the billions of dollars that really moves the markets, okay? Because the billions of dollars will buy down here. And how do you think when it smacks here and wicks back up? Because that's where all the smart money is sitting at. They're waiting for price to come down here. So to get price down here, what will they do? They'll sell their shares so they could re-up down here. They'll scare you out so that you could sell and you could drive price down here. Don't be a victim to the trap. Don't be a victim to the trap. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't be a victim to the trap. Because it's a trap. They trap our mindsets. They trap how we think. As in far as, okay, they're right. This is bad. Let me sell, let me sell, let me sell, just for them to buy. Hypocrites, okay? Do not fall into the hypocritical ways of the rich. Instead, understand the markets, understand buy zones, and understand opportunity when it comes. Bitcoin is the golden opportunity. Bitcoin and the crypto market's going to create a wealth transfer. A lot of people will get left behind, but the people that take heed and understand, they will be able to make something happen. Okay, so we know the government is also working on that bill. We're going to see how that takes off, if it all comes to fruition here pretty soon. And I'm pretty sure that could be some sort of news that could make us jump a double hurdle, okay? So I know we just had a jam-packed video today, and I'm probably going to be dropping these videos every Wednesday where we look at SPY chart and when we look at Bitcoin chart, along with the lives we do every Sunday where we also touch over these charts as well, and we have different topics depending on what happens throughout the week and whatever I feel led in the spirit by the Lord our Savior Jesus Christ to talk about on my YouTube channel. So with all that being said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment some new video ideas. Comment some stuff that you may be looking at. If y'all have a chart y'all want me to look at for you, I'm always open to it. Until then, I'll keep on going over SPY and Bitcoin just to give people those reps. But make sure you also share this with someone that doesn't know about investing so that you can introduce them to investing. Make sure you share this with someone that does not know about Jesus so that we could all become stewards of his kingdom and we could all reach the heavenly gates when our time on earth ends. We'd rather have eternal life than eternal death. Keep that in mind as well. So I love you all and have a blessed day.